Hello friends, welcome back to another session of Core Java tutorials. In today's class, I'm going to discuss about border layout. So you can see a border layout on the screen right now. So the border layout class implements a common layout style for the top level windows. It's the default layout for JApplet, JFrame, JDialog and JWindow. And so what does this border layout do is it divides the container into 5 regions which are named geographically. The top one is called as the north and the lower one is called as the south, and then the left is called west and the right is called east and the central is called as the center. So the 4 sides are referred to as north, south, east and west, and the middle one is referred to as center. Okay. Fine. So you can see that the top and the bottom they span across the width of the container, and so you can see the left and right, which are called as east and west. They take the height of the container minus the north and south. Okay, and then coming to the center, so center will take more space compared to north, south, east, and west. Okay, fine. So it will fill up the rest of the space horizontally and vertically. So in here I have placed some buttons in north, south, east, west, and center. So there are certain constructors of the border layout. The constructors are border layout, which is the default one, which doesn't take any arguments. There is another constructor which takes in the horizontal gap and the vertical gap. You can specify, you can customize the gap as well. By default, there is no space, but if you want to add space between the regions, you can also do it with the second constructor, which is horizontal and vertical. So these are the 2 constructors, and the next one is if you are not specifying any region, the elements will be added to the center of the container. So there are certain constants which specify the regions. The first one is the border layout dot center. Then the border layout dot east, then the border layout dot north, border layout dot south, and border layout dot west. Along with this, you also have after last line and line end, line start, etc. So this border layout is there in java.awt package. So you need to import this package to use this border layout. These are some of the methods that you can use, which are get horizontal gap, then get vertical gap, add layout component, and get constraints. And you can also use layout container, maximum layout size, minimum layout size. You can remove layout component, and you can set the horizontal gap and the vertical gap, etc. So these are the methods that you can apply on the border layout. So here we'll be using another add method, which is an overloaded add method to add the components to the specific region. So this add method will be taking the component object, comma, it will be, we need to specify the region. Okay, so it will take 2 arguments. The add method will take 2 arguments. One is the component object and the second one is the region. So the region has to be specified because it's a constant, static constant. So you need to say border layout dot center, border layout dot east, border layout dot north. This is how the regions need to be mentioned. So now I'll be creating a swing application which will be using the border layout. So let me show you a demo. Okay, now I'll show you how to create the border layout. So for that I need to import certain packages. The first package is import java.awt.star, because all the layout managers are there in the AWT package. And then I need to import javax dot swing package, because we are creating a swing application, and all the components are in javax dot swing package. Okay, fine. So the class is public class. So I'll say border layout demo. Okay, and then extends JFrame. Okay, in here I'll be having public static void main string array args. Okay, so in here I'll be calling the constructor of this particular class, which is BLDemo. And so inside the constructor, I'll be setting the size of the frame. So set size. Okay, so the size of the frame is 800 comma 400, and set default close operation. So I'm setting the default close operation to exit on close. So which is jframe dot exit on close. Okay, I need to set the visibility of the frame. So I'll set visible, and so this need to be true. Okay, and the default layout of the JFrame is border layout. So you need to mention a set layout and all that. I'll show you when you require it. Okay, so here I'll be creating 5 buttons. So I require 5 buttons: J button, B1 comma B2 comma B3 comma B4. Fifth button I'll be creating on the fly. So I'll say B1 is equal to new J button. So this J button is there inside the javax.swing package. So I'll be naming this as not. So I named the button to be not the button. I have put a name on the button, which is not. In the similar way, I'll be creating 4 more buttons. So this will become the south button, and this will become the east button, and this I'll be placing on the west, which will become the west button. And the center button I'll create on the fly. So I need to add this to the layout. So we won't be using the first kind of add method where directly we'll be adding the component. Here we have to add the component plus the area or the region to which we need to associate the component. So here this add method will be taking 2 arguments. The first will be the component and second one will be the region. So I am saying B1 comma, and I need to mention to what region I want to add this particular button. B1 button, I named it as north. So I'll be placing onto the north side. So there is a constant over here, which is border layout dot north. So this is the constant. So I'm adding this button north onto the north side. Okay, before compiling, so this should be capital F. Okay, so J and F should be capital letters, and here set default, this should be small letter. Okay, so set default close operation. Okay, fine. And then let us change the references of this button. This is B2 and this is B3 and this is B4. Okay, fine. We are all set now. So compile this, and let us compile this program. Okay, so where is the program? It's on the desktop. So Java C BL demo.java. Okay, so let me execute this, launch my Swing application BL demo. So you can see that there is a button created, and this button has been added onto the north side. Okay. So in the similar way, let me actually add the other buttons. So let me close this and add the other buttons to the frame. Okay. So the same add operation. So the same add operation I'm using, but here I'll be saying B2. And what is B2? B2 should go on to the south. So I'm saying it is south. And B3 should go on to the east. So this will be border layout dot, this should be border layout dot east. And this is B4, and B4 should go on to the west side. Okay, so let me add one more button, and that button I'll be adding onto the center, and that I'll be creating on the fly. So I'll say new J button. So it will be new J button, and let me actually name the button. So this button will be like the center button. Okay, so you can also create the components on the fly and add it to the container, which is your JFrame center. Okay, so I'm adding a new button onto the center and the constant is BorderLayout.center. Okay, so let us now compile this program. So I'm compiling the program and execute the program. Okay, so this is your border layout. So you can see the buttons are placed according to the regions, north, west, east, center, and south. And you can see how they are positioned. So the north and south take the entire width of the J-frame, and east and west will take the height minus the north height and the south height. And then the center will be taking the maximum area over here. So this is our border layout, and you can see there is no gap between the regions. Okay, so there is no space between the regions. You can also add space between the regions. So I'll tell you how to do that. So in here, what we'll do is we'll create a border layout. So I'll say border layout B. Okay, and then let me create an instance of it. B is equal to new border layout. Okay, and then to this I'll be setting set horizontal gap. So I'm giving a horizontal gap of 5, and also I'll say set vertical gap, and the vertical gap will be also 5. Okay, so now I'll be using the set layout method. So set layout, and into this I'll be passing a B, which is nothing but the border layout instance. So now you will be seeing a gap between the buttons. Let me save this and let us recompile this. Okay, and execute this. So you can see the gaps now, horizontal and vertical gaps you can see between the components. Okay, in the same way, you can also create a panel and add the panel onto the center. Because the restriction of the border layout is that only one component can go into a region. To overcome that restriction, we can actually create a panel and put the components into the panel and then put the panel into the center. Okay, so center or any of the position, which will actually override the kind of restriction that the border layout gives us. Okay, so this is the border layout. I hope this video is helpful to you. Thank you for watching.